Hi, everybody. It's the waitingfornextyear.com podcast. I'm your host, Craig Lindell. And boy, oh boy, every single time the Dolans say anything, they get themselves into trouble. Paul Dolan and his family got a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Greater Cleveland Sports Awards. And he was trying to make fun of himself with the enjoy him comment at the end of his speech. He was doing everything he could to make fun of himself, but ended up stepping in it just the same. God, how do they do this? How do they do this? Is it a lack of self-awareness? I mean, right before that, the paragraph before, he goes in and references one of the biggest pain points Indians fans have had for the last year. He thanks the suite holders and the season ticket holders and, I understand, the loyal fans, but it's like, I thank all the people who fill my pockets. Now, you don't fill my pockets enough to sign the most important player of the last 25 years, but thank you. It's just not fun. The conversation is just not fun. For a second off season in a row, the whole lead up to the Cleveland Indians pitchers and catchers reporting has not been fun. It's felt like the Indians have been sitting it out. It's felt like the Indians have hamstrung their front office, who gets tons of credit, who's very good. How can anybody be looking forward to the Cleveland Indians season right now? How? What have they done? The offseason is part of the sales job. I know, nobody wants to win the offseason the way they did when they signed Nick Swisher and Michael Bourne. I get it. You don't want to make those giant mistakes. Spending money doesn't equal success. I understand that. But we're not talking about signing Nick Swisher. We're not talking about signing Michael Bourne. By the way, signing Michael Bourne was still a smart move because his market had fallen. It didn't work out, but that's the way things go sometimes. That's the way things go. But this is a sport that every year hands every franchise $209 million, just north of $200 million. And then the Indians get the other 52% of their local revenues. Okay? And we can't beckon for a $100 million payroll as fans in the off season. We have to endure a second straight year of reduced payroll. Is this them saving an extra $15 million, $16 million in Corey Kluber trade? Is this an extra $16 million that they're going to use to sign Francisco Lindor? Are they reducing payroll to make the team look more attractive from a revenue standpoint so that they can sell the Indians? So in my world of insurance, when somebody wants to sell their company, they boost their revenue. You build up the company and you're in growth mode and your expenses are at this level, at a certain level. And then when you want to sell your company, you reduce those expenses as much as possible. You make yourself look as profitable as possible because you're going to get multiple times that revenue. It feels like that's what the Indians are doing, but that's not the type of business they're in. People don't buy professional sports franchises based on the cash flow, the earnings before interest, tax, debt, and amortization, the EBITDA. They buy these things based on asset value, and sometimes the asset value doesn't match the revenue. The asset value doesn't match the revenue because the asset value continues to skyrocket even as the revenue grows but doesn't skyrocket. It's not a revenue business. So if that's what they're doing, and they expect us meanwhile they expect us to pay money for tickets to watch it, I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting because we know that sometime in the first 3 or 4 months of the season, there are going to be whispers to some reporter, probably Terry Pluto, about how this is the market size and we don't sell that many tickets. And meanwhile, the time for selling tickets, like the most valuable time to sell tickets is as a pre-sale. And when you're trying to sell tickets as a pre-sale, you're selling it based off optimism. Nobody had bigger cojones than the Cleveland Browns ticket reps prior to Freddie Kitchens' first season. They trade for Odell Beckham Jr. They have Kareem Hunt. Baker Mayfield's coming into his first season without Hugh Jackson. Everybody was excited for Freddie Kitchens. Those ticket reps they needed wheelbarrows to carry their balls when they called me to try and get me to buy Cleveland Browns tickets ahead of this season. What in the world are Cleveland Indians ticket reps doing right now to try and convince fans on the other end of the line that this is the year to step up and buy tickets? This is the year to buy a season ticket package. What in the world are they using as ammunition other than, the weather's going to be nice? What better place to spend it than at the ballpark? And no, I don't think the Indians can solve that by spending $30 million on a player who's not gonna $30 million on some free agent is not gonna do anything. But if they'd made 2 or 3 moves, their signature move right now is trading Corey Kluber. And even if I agree with you that that's a smart move, it doesn't sell tickets. It doesn't move the needle. It doesn't get me excited for Cleveland Indians baseball. Does it get you excited for this season? I mean, it's a move. It's maybe a smart move, but it's just a move. I like the idea of Class A and okay, they got an extra outfielder, but it doesn't move the needle. And you can't make moves just to move the needle. But maybe you ought to consider ticking it up a tiny bit. The Indians don't tick it up at all. They don't. They don't move the needle at all. And that brings me to another point. Every time I talk about this stuff, people are like, well, better than the Browns. Better than the Browns. Say what you want about the Indians, better than the Browns. That's not the contest, okay? The contest for the Cleveland Indians is against the other Major League Baseball teams and trying to win I almost said Super Bowl. Trying to win a World Series. They're trying to win a World Series. They're trying to make the playoffs. They failed to do that last year, okay? They're not competing to be less of a dumpster fire than Jimmy Haslam and the Browns. That's not the competition. It's a cheap deflection. It's not a good debate tactic. It doesn't win you your argument. It doesn't somehow prop the Indians up. It just doesn't. It doesn't. And it doesn't make anybody want to buy season tickets to the Indians. It doesn't make them want to buy a 5-game package. It doesn't. It doesn't. Okay? So anyway, lots of fun. Thanks for speaking after winning your Lifetime Achievement Award. I appreciate that, Paul Dolan. Very helpful. Very fun. When do pitchers and catchers report? Who's excited? Can't wait. Can't wait. Better than the Browns, though. Better than the Browns. Better than the Browns. And by the way, I don't have a Browns take. I'm withholding all judgment. I think I like Kevin Stefanski. I think I like the offense he's going to bring. I'm nervous they're going to blow up this roster. I'm nervous they're going to trade players, and they're going to trade down in the draft, and they're going to swap out perfectly good players for chances on players that might be more of their fit. I think they've talked a good game about taking a team that supposedly had enough talent to compete this year, but I'm nervous that they're going to kind of, if not a complete blow up, like a mini blow up. I'm nervous about the mini blow up. because I just, I don't have any more patience, and I know that's not fair. But 1 in 31 was supposed to be in service of something, and we wasted a year with Freddie Kitchens as fans, and now, God, I want one of these bad seasons to be in service of something, in service of a goal, of a better tomorrow. I was hoping that tomorrow would be this year, but I'm nervous. You bring in new people, they don't see what the old people saw when they drafted, signed, traded for certain players. And I'm nervous that's going to happen. So we'll see. I have some guests upcoming. I know I keep saying that. I really do. So stay tuned. Thanks so much for listening. It's been the waitingfornextyear.com podcast.